Okay, ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to show you how to solve for the perimeter and area of this figure. Okay, so let's begin. Alright, so in this figure, what type of figure do you see here? That's right, it's an equilateral triangle. How can you say that it's an equilateral triangle? Because as we can see, there are 3 equal marks on each side of the triangle. So triangle MEN is an equilateral triangle. And we know by definition means an equilateral triangle is a triangle that has all same angles. But since one angle is 9 and then inside we have a parallelogram or a rhombus inside the triangle. So what do we do about that? Let's see. And here are the missions. The missions for this item is to solve for the perimeter of the equilateral triangle, to solve for the perimeter of GUYP, which is the rhombus or parallelogram, and area of the shaded region, which pertains to this guy. Alright, so let's begin. To make life easier, let's solve first for the perimeter. For the perimeter of MEN, which we call the equilateral triangle, that's super easy. You know why? Look, one side of the right triangle is 9 decameters. So we can say it's 9 plus 9 plus 9, or 9 times 3, which is equivalent to 27 decameters. Very easy, right? 27 decameters. Yun lang. Just like what you see, your answer right here. Next, let's solve for the perimeter of GUYP, which stands for the parallelogram. To solve for the perimeter of the parallelogram or rhombus, you already know what to do. Diba, parallelogram, we know that opposite sides are equal and opposite angles are equal too. So look at this. I have these angle marks right here to represent something. It says here for this arrow, the width of one side of the parallelogram is 207 decimeters. 207 decimeters, right? The length is 537 decimeters. And the height is 186 decimeters. Do you see this, yung 186 decimeters? It's pointing to the height, which you see here. Nakikita mo yung line na may dot dot? That is the height, which we're gonna use later when we solve for the area. Next, so to solve for the perimeter of this figure, it's very easy, right? What you can just do is, actually to make life easier, do you know you can change decimeters into decameters? Because just like what I told you, when you solve for the area, of course, dapat kaparehas yung measure. So you're gonna have to convert that to decameters first. So 207 decameters, we know the measure of 1 decameter is equivalent to 100 decimeters. So 207 divided by 100, just move the decimal, or in short, just move the decimal point 2 places to the left, and that should be 2.07. So 2.07 times 2 plus 5.37 times 2. And here's the answer. The answer that you should get is 14.88 decameters. As you can see here. Yun yung dapat sagot namin, 14.88 decameters. Now, for the last part, it's solving for the area of the shaded region. How do you solve for the area of the shaded region? Look closely. As you can see, do you see the shape that's colored in? That pertains to the shaded region that we're talking about. So how do you solve for the area of the shaded region? If your answer is the area of the triangle minus the area of the parallelogram, you are correct. Now here's how we get the area. First, let's get the area of the parallelogram. You know the area of the parallelogram, it's super easy. To get the area of the parallelogram, it's always base times height. Remember, 207 decimeters or 2.07 decameters is not the height. That is just one of the lengths or the slanted area or slanted dimension of the parallelogram. So, hindi yun yung height. Ang totoong height ay yung 186 decimeters or 1.86 decameters. To make it fast, let's solve it in a calculator. So therefore, we have 1.86 times 5.37. 5.37 pertains to the base, and 1.86 pertains to the height. So what do you get? The answer you're supposed to get is 9.982 square decameters. So put that answer in your head first. See, that's what we have recorded. Now going back to our triangle. Going back to our triangle, ayan. Do you think we have a height? No, we don't. But remember, just what I said, we can still solve for the area of any equilateral triangle even though we don't have the height. How's that so? Remember what did I tell you when it comes to equilateral triangles? We can apply the formula called the 30, 60, 90 degree triangle. Right? Paano laruin to yung larong to? You know, 9 decameters is the length of every side of the triangle. So just like what I said, ihahatiin mo yung triangle na to into half. And once you have the triangle, it forms two right triangles. One right triangle, let's just work on one right triangle. So, I'll draw it out na lang para mas madaliin. You have a right triangle right here. The right triangle that you see here. Remember, this is half of 9 decameters. Remember, this is the hypotenuse, di ba? Ang hypotenuse ay 9. And we know that it's an equilateral triangle. So, therefore, we have a right angle. And then, what did we tell you? We can play 30, 60, 90 degree triangle. Kasi po, you know naman, if we were to look at, if this were an equilateral triangle, you know that this angle is 60 degrees. Tapos, this one 60 if it were all together. Kaya lang, since pinarte nila, this is 30. So, tama nga, it's a 30, 60, 90 degree triangle. Now, how do we solve for the measure of the long leg, which is this one? Of course, that's 4.5 times the square root of 3. Or, if you play the game called SOHCAHTOA, this is, remember this hypotenuse over adjacent. So, you can play SOHCAHTOA, right? So, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna do SO, Ka, or TOA? Remember, if we're using this as the angle, this is opposite, this is adjacent, this is hypotenuse, right? So, HA. So, which formula has the HA? Na ma-exclude ng O? It's cosine. So, cosine. And since we want to know the measure, we have to use cosine. So, remember, it's cosine, cos of whichever angle you're working on, which is theta, which is 60, is equivalent to, di ba, AH, adjacent over the hypotenuse. Adjacent over the hypotenuse. That is 4.5 divided by 9. We know that 4.5 divided by 9 is, let me work it out for you. Ay, wait pala, I was wrong. Sorry, cut that part. Kasi po we're looking for the measure of the opposite. Kasi po we're looking for the measure of the opposite, we have to do this formula. If we're using 60 degrees, di ba remember this 60 degrees? So, ang hanapin namin ay yung opposite. So, ang dapat gagawin namin to find the opposite, we have to do tangent. Bakit tangent? Kasi nga, di ba remember, tangent means we have the tangent T. Tangent is equivalent to, di ba ang formula ng tan? Tan of whatever angle, tan of 60, is equivalent to opposite, which we don't know, over the adjacent, which is 4.5. We have to let O all by itself. With that, we can multiply both sides by 4.5. So therefore, tan of 60 degrees times 4.5 is equivalent to O. Ganito kasi yung mangyayari. So, type in your calculator, hanapan mo yung tan function. Ayan, tan. Tan, then type the angle degree that you want, which is 60. Multiply that by 4.5. What did we get? 7.79. We should get 7.79 or 7.8 kung nag-round off tayo. 7.8 decameters. Alright? So, yun dapat yung sagot namin. Now, just like what I said, we can also play the game called Pythagorean theorem to make it sense. To make it statable, right? Remember, if we play Pythagorean theorem, that would be 4.5 squared plus b squared equals 9 squared. 4.5 squared, 4.5, that's 25. And then, 25. 5 times 4, 20.25. And 9 squared is 81. 81 minus 20.25, that should be 5. This is 8, diba? 8 minus 2, did we skip? So, tama at 60. 60.75. Tama? Let's see if I'm correct. 9 squared minus 4.5 squared, 60.75. Take the square root of that number. Yes, we still got 7.8. So that is our height. Our height should measure 7.8 decameters. Alright? Now, what we can do now is 7.8 times 9. 7.8 times 9 divided by 2. Or we can do 3.9 times 9. Right? 81. 9 times 3, 27. 35.1. So 35.1 decameters. That is the area of the triangle. 35.1 deca squared. Now, to get the area of the shaded region, subtract. So you have 35.1 minus 9.9882. And what answer did you get? Let's work it out here para mas madaliin, okay? Since this is a basic. This is 8. 1, 1. 0 minus 9 is 1. 14 minus 9. 4. We should be getting this answer. Let's see. Wait lang ah. Yes, we should be getting that answer. Then minus 9.9882. Tama! 25.118. So, it's not 24. It's 25. So therefore, what is the area of the shaded region? The area of the shaded region is 25.1118 deca squared. Yun.